We'll call the meeting to order and ask the secretary to call the roll.
Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Chair declares a quorum present to conduct business. We'll hear a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of August the 2nd.
So move.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Aye. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
As I said, the motion passes. We'll hear a motion for the consent docket unless there's a member of the commission that'd like to take an item out and discuss it separately, which we will do so. Not hearing any, we'll hear a motion on the
Motion to
consent.
approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Overland.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
I'm going to abstain.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
All right.
Motion passes. We'll move to item 123, presented by Mr. Tim Teaker.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Item 123 is our programming item this month. We request approval to program a project to repair vehicle impact damage to I-44 southbound over Reno Avenue, located 0.2 miles north of I-40 in Oklahoma County. We estimate the project to be $175,000 using state aid funds, and this project can be ready for a January 2016 letting. Party responsible for the damage is known. Approval is recommended.
You've heard the recommendation. What's your pleasure?
Make a motion.
Have a motion.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Overland.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
All right.
Motion passes. We'll hear item 124. Continue.
Thank you. Item 124, engineering contracts. Part A is our statewide contract. We have selected 7 consulting firms to provide on-demand wetland and stream mitigation services and Endangered Species Act compliance. We have Blackbird Environmental, Intercon Services, HDR Engineering, Kleinfelder, Mead and Hunt, Olson Associates, and SWCA Incorporated. This is for $1,750,000 and be task-driven for an on-call services. Funding, again, will be 100%. Part B, Oklahoma County. We've selected Poe & Associates to provide a preliminary study of I-35, adding additional ramps for I-35 northbound and southbound on the I-40 and I-35 junction in Oklahoma County. This is for $1,182,067. It is project is in FY 2022 for $10 million. Part C, Tulsa County. We've selected Olson Associates to provide preliminary engineering and construction plans for eastbound and westbound I-44 over 33rd West Avenue. This is 0.6 miles east of State Highway 66. This contract is for $1,122,390. It is in FY 2021 for over $17 million. Approval is recommended, and I can answer any questions if you have any.
You've heard the proposal.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Overland.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Motion passes. Continue with the engineering contract supplements, item 125.
Thank you. Item A, we have 4 supplements this month. Item A is a statewide contract, EC 1608. It's our on-demand SBR rehab contracts. We have Aguirre and Fields, CEC Corporation, EST Incorporated, Leidos Engineering, MKEC Engineering, and Olson Associates. This is for $2,250,000. Part B is Cleveland County. This project is with Poe & Associates for US 77. This project is from State Highway 39 in Lexington going north about 4 miles for $100,000. It is in our 8-year program in 2019. This is a construction contract is just over $13 million. Part C, K County. This is with Aguirre Fields for $34,250 for US 60 bridges over the Chickasha River. This is contract is in our 2017 8-year construction work plan for just under $3.5 million. And Part D, Oklahoma County, is with Olson and Associates. This is broken into 2 projects. It's I-35 northbound and southbound bridges over 63rd Street, north of I-40. And then we also have I-35 northbound and southbound over Deep Fork Creek and service roads. This is for $1,663,390. It is in our FY 2018 for just over $23 million. Approval is recommended, and I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you for that presentation. What's the pleasure of the commission on item 125?
So moved.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Overland.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Item 125 passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Item 126, Mr. Sam Atkins and the lettings.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, item 126 consists of the final November and the 2015 bid opening and the tentative January 2016 bid opening. And the department recommends approval of item 126.
Have the recommendation of the department.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Overland.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Atkins. Mr. Raymond. George, you're at 127 and 128.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. I'd like to present item 127, parts A through AA. These represent the change orders on projects with a cumulative total of $50,000 or less. This item is presented for your information only. No action is necessary. I'll be glad to try to answer any questions that you have.
Commission members have any questions on item 127? If not, we'll move to 128.
Thank you. I'd like to present item 128, parts A through U. These represent the change orders on projects with a cumulative total greater than $50,000, and your approval is recommended.
You have item 128. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to
Second.
approve and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Overland.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Shelley's going to present item 129, 130, and we'll stop her there.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Agenda item 129 is a settlement for damages to state properties, and it has 9 parts. Part A and B are write-offs. Part C through I are partial payouts. And parts G, H, and I, the damages caused multiple travelers damage and it exceeded the policy's limits. The department requests and recommends approval of this item.
You've heard the recommendation of the
Motion for
department.
approval.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have several seconds. Any discussion? Y'all notice how she doesn't even look up and she knows who it is. Hearing no discussion, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Overland.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Continue.
Agenda item 130 is a revision to the FY 2016 budget, and it has 8 parts. Each year, we prepare the budget, including known state funding and estimated federal funding for 2016. Then, each year, we revise the budget to adjust for 2016 actual known funding which we'll know as soon as we get more final numbers on the federal funding. Part A is actually the available federal funding balance as of June 30, 2015, of federal fiscal year 2015. Parts B and C are transfers of the 2016 state funding between one category to another. And parts D through H are carryover of 2015 state funding. The department requests and recommends approval of this item.
You've had Shelley's recommendation before you.
Make a motion that we approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
We also have a second. Any discussion?
I had a question. Shelley, I don't know if I'm probably not going to ask the question very well, but on the weigh station, all the different components to that, and then we've got the ports of entry, weigh station. How is all that funded? I mean, how does that work? Because I've never been crystal clear on the funding, the Corporation Commission's involvement, and all the other pieces to it.
Boy, it's been a while since somebody's asked me something about that. At this particular item, the funding has two categories, one for capital improvement for ports of entry and the other one for size and weights. DPS funds the size and weights part, and the weigh station is Corporation Commission. And the weigh station port of entry has two funding pots there. There's some motor fuel tax there and some, I'm struggling to remember what the other one is, but this particular item.
Don't look at me.
I can get you more information after this.
I know
I'm
it's
sure he
not-
wants to come in and rescue me, and I'll
Yeah, I
take
know
that
it's a little
assistance right this minute.
complicated, I guess part of the reason, I thought that part of it also was maybe some allocation from the legislature, and
There's a
so it may be
capital.
kind of a little bit of a mixed bag, but with all the ports of entry that we've got under development and that we built, I think it'd be a good thing to kind of revisit and make sure everybody kind of has a good handle on the whole program.
Okay. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner, there's basically three sources of revenue that go into the weigh station revolving fund. They are penalties and fines that are levied by the Corporation Commission. And then there's permitting fees that are that come to us from the Department of Public Safety. And that's for the oversized, overweight permitting fees. And then there's also the Leaky Underground Storage Tank Indemnity Fund that provides $6 million.
So far, you've hit me for all three. Keep going.
So there's $6 million. The $6 million is what we're building the ports of entry with, the new ports of entry, and so we're getting that $500,000 a month, and when it builds up, then we build a new port of entry. The other two sources of revenue are what Shelley identified as we're using to support both DPS's routing and permitting system and their office to do so, and also helping the Corporation Commission with renovating and constructing new interior weigh stations. Where the legislature has impacted us in the last 2 years, they've come in and taken, for lack of a better phrase, taken $17.5 million from the weigh station revolving fund each of the last 2 years. So what this does is, what she's asking to do is shift money from one category to another within the weigh station revolving fund to enable us to complete the task.
Okay, thank you.
Very good, Shelley.
Everything he said, he's way better at that delivery than I am. We good?
Unless somebody else has a question, there might be another question. You better hang tough.
Come here.
We vote.
Anybody have any more questions? All right. We got all that.
Already did that.
You might as well tell us how many we lack to get them finished. Do you remember? because we rebuilt a lot of them. We started the emphasis a few years back, and
So what we have completed in terms of ports of entry is Kay County, Beckham County, soon to open Sequoyah County in the eastern part of the state. Within 2 weeks, we'll open that one. We started construction on I-35 coming in from the Texas side, and we're initiating the effort to look at US 60, to take to bid US 69. So that will leave us with 271 coming in from Texas, I-44 coming in from Texas, as well as unrelated to us, but needed to complete is I-44 coming in from Missouri on the Turnpike, and then a virtual station on 412 coming in from Arkansas.
and we might add that that is not something that's just happening accidentally, that it was planned and everybody knew the significance and the need of it, been working on it for a few years now.
A few years, yes, sir. We've been working on it for 12 years, I believe.
Yeah.
And do we have all the new weigh in motion technology?
Yes, all the new weigh in motion sensor technology is all going in, so that not all trucks have to stop at the new ports of entry. If they've got all their stuff in order, then they just flow down the main line, and we weigh them on the main line. And then if the Corporation Commission wants to visit with them, or DPS wants to visit with the trucker, then they can pull them in and do additional conversations and inspection of the vehicle.
Y'all made 100. Great plan, great progress, and call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Overland.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Motion passes. You can sit down now. Oh, but wait, no, go ahead. Anthony's going to present item 131, the awards.
Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Chairman. Item 131 for you today are our recommendations from the August 20th bid opening. It is recommended that the following items from the letting referred to by call order be awarded. It's call order 10, 20, 30, 40, 70, 80, 85, 87, 90, 100, 130, 150 with option A, 160, 170, 180, 200, 210, 215, 220, and 230. It is recommended that the following items from the letting referred to by call order be rejected. It's call orders 35 and 190. This concludes our recommendations for award, and your approval is requested.
Thank you for that presentation. What's your pleasure?
Motion approved.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Overland.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll hear item 132. Ray's going to bring that.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Item 132 is for the Asset Preservation Plan. The Department has completed the proposed 2016 through 2019 Asset Preservation Plan with consideration for the critical needs of Oklahoma's transportation infrastructure. Item 132 is presented for information only. No commission action is required, but I'll attempt to answer any questions you may have.
Does anyone on the commission have any questions or comment for Mr. Sanders on the Asset Preservation Plan?
Looks like a good plan.
We don't hear any comments, so you can move on to item 133, the 8-year construction plan.
Thank you. Well, the department has completed the proposed 2016 through 2023 construction work plan with consideration for the critical needs of the projected federal and state funding availability. The projects encompassed have been defined, validated, and included in accordance with the transportation needs and priorities of the state. Commission approval of the 2016 through 2023 construction work plan is recommended.
You've been provided a copy of the plan and had the presentation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a second to approve. Any comments? Director, you're going to hold your comments to your portion, okay? Hearing no discussion, we will have the vote. Call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Oberlin.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. The motion passes. We'll hear the director's report. Director Patterson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. I'll keep this brief because I know it's getting hot in here already. It doesn't take long to heat this place up. One thing I wanted to point out on Anthony's agenda item was the Tishomingo Bridge, the bridge south of Tishomingo on State Highway 99, US 377. That's a bridge that we've been working on for a number of years. It was originally planned, as I recall, for 2017, 2018 timeframe. Because it became closed during the recent flooding, we were able to expedite it, the final design with our engineering partners and able to take bids on it and award it today. So thank you so much for awarding that project. That means a lot to the people of Tishomingo and Medill, and it means a lot to the agency that we're able to expedite those kinds of projects when needed. As for the asset preservation plan, just a bit of history. You will recall there was a time when we didn't have an asset preservation plan. And that is why we find ourselves with some of the projects that we do in our 8-year construction work plan, because we did not do asset preservation prior to 2008. We made some valid attempts at it, but financially, we weren't able to do that. And with the long-told story about the legislature and the governor providing additional revenue to us, we're able to create an asset preservation plan, kind of the pay-me-now plan. So we can take care of things now before they get so bad that they have to show up as a brand-new bridge. We can paint the bridge now instead of reconstructing it years from now. So we're able to get the asset preservation continued. You will see our efforts in asset preservation increase in the coming years simply because Oklahoma, this department, this commission has put significant resources in rebuilding our system, and we do not want to go backwards to the days of old. So we're going to continue to preserve the assets that we've been so diligently reconstructing in recent history. Congratulations to this agency and to this commission for another 8-year plan. When the 8-year plan started, and I had a great conversation with Secretary Ridley the other day, when these plans started, there were some who thought this was just a passing fancy. But now we're well into another 8-year plan. And who would have ever thought that we'd be talking about an 8-year plan that would reach out to 2023? You know, when we did the first one, we thought we'd never get to the 8th year, and now we've long passed that 8th year, and we're well into 2023 with our plan. In this plan, you see fewer bridges than you saw last year. 935 last year, 913 this year. Well, that is a product of the huge effort that we've placed on our bridge program, trying to get it down to a manageable state by 2020, and we're going to succeed in doing that. And so you're going to see fewer bridges, but you will not see a plan where there's no bridges, ever. Because even after 2020 and getting it to a manageable state, we will still have nearly 1,200 bridges that are 80 years old. We will still have bridges that are aging, that will have to be taken care of with our asset preservation. You will still see us having to replace bridges and do major rehabilitation. So we will never go back to the days in which we had 5 bridges in a year. We will still have a huge effort in bridges, but it won't be to the level that you've seen in recent history, and that's a good thing. It's an absolute good thing. So now we're able to concentrate so much of our financial resources on the other things that we would have liked to have done up until now, we needed to do, wanted to do, and that's safety components that we will be more concentrated on surface, capacity, and those kinds of issues. As you look in the 8-year plan, and if you compare the one of 3 years ago, we'll say, to the one of today, you can see that transition. The other thing that's in this 8-year plan, and particular in 2016, we asked the division engineers to look at putting some resurface projects in the upcoming year out of their monies in the 8-year plan, and accelerating that effort because we've become woefully insufficient in our surface condition. And that's a product of several things: a bad winter, significant rains, an energy sector that's using us more than what we thought, number of cars and trucks using the highways. All that's a good thing. That's called economic development, and things are happening, but we've just got to get caught up. And so we always appreciate the patience of the citizens of Oklahoma as we work through this. We're often reminded we're about 20 years behind, and it's going to take us a bit to caught up, and their patience in allowing us to get caught up is very well noted. One of the things, the components of any 8-year plan is our federal funds. State funds, federal funds. We've talked about the state funding and what we've seen in recent years with that. The federal funding, we talk about that continually. Last month I reported on the DRIVE Act, Senator Inhofe's authored bill that went through the Senate that will provide a long-term solution to federal funding, something we haven't had in several years. So we will anticipate seeing that. It's now up to the House to do something about the DRIVE Act, and it's anticipated that they will do so prior to October 30th, when the current continuing resolution extension expires. They will have to do something. They will have to either give another extension or pass the DRIVE Act. We're hopeful that they will pass the DRIVE Act. In the DRIVE Act, there's a component that talks about freight corridors, because that's an emphasis in the future, is freight corridors. It establishes a grant program. We were asked by Senator Inhofe, if you guys could throw in 3 projects, what would those projects be for this freight corridor? We identified the 3 as being I-40 out front of Tinker Air Force Base. The Tinker Diagonal, as many know it. It's under capacity. We need to increase capacity there, increase access into the base. And so that was one that we identified. We identified also I-44 in Tulsa, west of the river to 244. It's well noted what we've done east of the river, Riverside Drive to Yale, but now we're looking at the west side of the river. Last year we had Senator Inhofe and Secretary Fox from the USDOT did a press conference out near that area. You must remember that that is a piece of interstate that was actually constructed in 1953, 3 years before the interstate system became law. So it is well dated, it's functionally obsolete, and some of it's structurally deficient. And we don't have a funding solution for that component either. And then finally, the other project that we put in as a grant possibility is US 69, starting at the Red River and going north. That is a major truck corridor, heavily traveled by trucks and other freight components. And as you look at the number of small towns that it goes through, US 69, it really becomes a safety issue and a capacity issue. So those were the 3 that we put in as a possibility for a grant program. And finally, Mr. Chairman, I want to remind the commissioners and tell the people behind me that our next commission meeting has been changed from October 5th to October 12th. And our November meeting has been changed from November 2nd to November 9th. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Does any commissioner have a comment? Want to make a comment? Go ahead.
I would like to make one comment. After several years of being on the commission, I found how important it is to work not only with the senior staff and staff, but also work with the other divisions. And I would like to specifically thank Division 5 for the hard work they're doing in helping us get a road from Woodward, Oklahoma to the Cherokee Trading Post there, 4-lane, and we now have it all in the 8-year plan, or just about all of it. People at Woodward are excited to death, and I think all of Northwest Oklahoma. So I just want to thank the other divisions for working with each other. Thank you.
Other comments?
I had a question on that targeted project, the 3 of them that you mentioned.
Yes, sir.
Would that be something as part of the highway bill, if we were to get a highway bill?
Yes, Commissioner Love, and you know, Congress cannot identify projects in a bill, otherwise known as earmarking or congressionally identified projects. What Chairman Inhofe is attempting to do is put together a grant program that each state could apply to, similar to what we have today with the Tiger Grant program that the administration takes care of. This would be a grant program that would be administered by Congress.
Other questions, comments? I want to thank you guys for keeping our efficiency at a high level by continuing to work on the 8-year plan, because it's not a spending plan, it's really an efficiency plan. The DRIVE Act is the same thing. If we cannot plan properly at the national and the state level, we're going to waste millions and billions of dollars. So thank you guys for your effort there. If there's no further discussion, do you have any more comments?
I do not, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you for your presentation. There's a guy back there in the back trying to hold up a basketball. Do we need to recognize him for any reason? Well, it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. And I noticed you didn't have too orange of a towel. I can't tell if it's orange or red, so I'm taking my chances here.
Oh, I bleed orange, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Steve Johnson. I'm Vice President of CEC. A couple of years ago, we were looking to host a fundraiser to raise money for a mission trip to Los Chilitos, Guatemala, where we were constructing some compost toilet systems for the village. We reached out to the engineering community, and we knew how supportive the engineering community could be, and we hosted a basketball tournament. And that first one was a tremendous success, so you can't have an inaugural tournament without a second annual tournament, so we wanted to make it an annual thing. And on August 29th, we held the second annual Hoop Dreams basketball tournament. And Anthony was the team captain of the ODOT Road Rage, and they defeated the defending champion CEC to get the coveted gold ball. We got their name engraved. But most importantly, the idea of this tournament is the champion of the tournament gets to pick next year's charity. So we look forward to working with ODOT for August 2016 and for them hosting that tournament and picking next year's charity. So congratulations, Anthony, and your ODOT Road Race.
Anthony looks like he's got game.
Yes.
While everybody's bragging on Anthony there, we'll have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. You're the man.